I'm a good old sucker. So I got me a siphon going here, sucking all the water out of the inside of the track frame. I didn't even drink any of that gold. It's kind of crazy when I blew that out with a steam cleaner and stuff. I don't know if you can see the sparklies. It almost looks like gold when it's wet. A lot of sandy material. I don't know where this machine was or what they were doing, if they were mining with it, trying to mine. But that's kind of what it reminds me of, is some dirt in a mine. You can see it kind of has a gold tinge to it and a lot of sparklies. I didn't do all this hard facing. Somebody asked me if I did. No, I didn't. Oh, and the other question I got was, so somebody wanted to know what this whole mess was going to cost. So I paid $15,000 for those new cat tracks. I paid $16,000 for the rollers and front idlers. And then I bought the top rollers, which I'm trying to remember what those were. Those were $200 and some a piece. I ended up buying the pins and shells for the diagonal brace. Those pins were about $300 a pop, and the shell was a couple $100 each. So there's 2 shells, 2 pins, a lot of cap bolts and hardware. Those bolts are expensive. They don't give those away. Probably 20 pounds of 7018 rod. Don't remember how much that is a pound. So I'm just going to guess here, by the time it's done, probably 40 grand. The sprocket segments were part of the 16,000 also. So a good ballpark number by the time I'm done is 40 grand without labor. That's what it'd be. I priced a complete cat undercarriage 8-10 years ago, and it was $65,000, and the pads would not be bolted on the rails. I would have to do that. So I think what I did was a significant savings over cat. Pretty sure the cat chains and the rollers at that time would have been genuine cat stuff. I'm not sure now if you bought them, if it would be genuine cat stuff. So the other question somebody had, and it's a legit question, is he asked about buying new equipment. Look at that. I keep doing this, Brandon. There's no pockets. So anyway, I wrote him a comment, big long one, and explained how my business model works. And then I accidentally, instead of hitting reply, I hit cancel. I didn't want to type it again, so I told him I'd do this in a video. So Rusty, this is for you. So the formula to pay for a piece of equipment, and I've always used this formula, and it works. So years and years ago, I figured if you can't pay for it in 3 years, you don't need it. You can't afford it. And when we bought the 336, it was so much more money, we had to go to 4 years. So the payments on that excavator were semi-annual. So I had to cough up $32,000 every 6 months. Well, when I bought the excavator, I texted all my clientele, sent them a picture of it, and said, we now have an excavator. But it still takes a while before they start calling you for stuff, or that they remember that. And I told the boys when we bought it, there was no way in the world that excavator was going to pay for itself. All that old junk, as some people refer to it, was going to have to help pay for it. And it did. So the formula to pay for something is you need $1 per hour for every $1,000 of cost. So if I was to go buy a brand new D9T, which I think is about $1.7 million now, I would need $1,700 an hour to pay for that. And nobody here is going to pay me $1,700 an hour. It's just not going to happen. Right now, I'm charging $400 an hour for the scrapers and the D9. It's not enough. So how do I make it work? Well, I fix my own stuff. Now, a lot of guys are watching me go through this, and it's drug on way too long. So you've got a false sense of how much work this is. So I got started, then I got called away to do other things. And so it's drug on forever and it looks bad. But you got to remember, those rollers were on there for 26 years. And you're like, good grief, it took you that long to wear them out? Yep, those went through 2 sets of tracks. So we're diversified and we have a lot of different equipment. We got scrapers, dozers, haul trucks, excavator, backhoe, front end loader, grader. There's 3 of us. We can't run it all at the same time. So scrapers sit a lot through the spring and summer. Sometimes we'll go use them, something will come up. But our main work with the scrapers comes in the fall. So like right now, Matt's out running the 336 cleaning up rocks, and you've seen that project. Jake's out hauling gravel with the dump truck, and he does stuff with his backhoe. So last year, it was basically just me and Matt running everything. I have considered buying a high drive bulldozer, but I'm not really sure I could afford to maintain it. And the reason I say that is a high drive only has 3 sprocket segments engaged with pins and bushings at all times. A hard bottom has 7. High drive undercarriages do not last as long as hard bottoms. I don't care what anybody says. Cat added 30% more material to the links and everything to get them to last somewhat as long as the hard bottoms, and that's just the way it is. So when you buy an undercarriage for D9, here goes Mr. Griffey and Miss Pater. When I priced the undercarriage for my D9G, it was $65,000, and a D9N was $95,000. It's 30% more money. There's 30% more material. You got 7 bottom rollers on a hard bottom, 8 rollers on a high drive, and you got an extra idler, and then your sprocket segments. You've got a shaft that goes through the middle. That's $16,000 if you run it too long and you can't exchange it for a reman. Reman's about half of that. You have major and minor bogey pivot points. The majors are up in the track frame. You got 2 pins there. Your minors are where the bogeys actually pivot, and I think you've got 2 there. I don't know how many bearings in there. Then you've got a hard bar that's on a linkage. And when that stuff is shot and you have to line bore all that stuff by all those pins and bushings, you're talking serious dough. So don't get me wrong, the high drive was an awesome idea for hard rock mining. You're gonna dough shot rock, you're gonna be in bad, tough conditions where it beats those final drives. High drive's your ticket, man. But for what I do, they work fine. You see the amount of rock I beat around in, and I get good service life out of them. You just can't back up in second gear or full blast first gear, forward and reverse in that rock. You're going to tear things up, and you're going to do the same in a high drive. You're going to destroy the undercarriage and the bogies and all that. My business model is such that I have a good clientele. I don't advertise. They just call. People know me. They know that I'll do good work at a reasonable price. And so they know if they called anybody else that had this kind of equipment, they'd pay triple, because they've got more overhead than we. You've got employees, you've got retirements, you got health care, you got all these things, and it just costs them more. I don't do cheaper work. It just costs me less to do it because of the way we're set up. We're a family operation. But with that comes having to fix your own stuff. If you're going to buy new stuff, you're going to have to hire a lot of people. You're going to have a mechanic, and you're going to have some very lucrative, profitable work. And the only people that can do that are the big boys, and I mean the big boys. So that's just my opinion. I know some will disagree, but for my business model, I don't see a high drive in our future. I just don't. I like the old stuff, but I do understand and realize it's not going to be that far down the road when these old girls are you're just not going to be able to get parts for them. It's a long rant. If you got some other questions, leave them below. I'll try to answer them. I think my water's drained. It's time to tap my last hole, start cleaning up so I can get rollers on. I have retapped all the holes, cleaned all the rust off, wire brushed inside here where the shafts go for the rollers, and I think we're ready here. I got all the bolts over here and I steam cleaned them, got all the rust and the anti-seize off of them. There's nothing wrong with the bolts. I think I put these in brand new when I put the rollers in. They're all really good, threads are good. So I'll just wire wheel these on the grinder and they'll go back in. But what I do have to do is I've got to get all new bolts for the guards. They were not good at all. All right, we are in like Flynn. Single, double, single, double, single, double, double. And again, that's how all my other ones are. Got double doubles up here. Don't ask me why, but that's the way it is. Okay, rollers are in. Bolts have all got goop on them, so I'm just gonna zip them down with the 1/2 inch here. Let's go up a notch or two here. All right, so I have the Ingersoll. I'm going to set it to murder, death, kill. That is hard on the hands. All right, so got them all tightened up except for the last one. The battery's overheated on the mill or the Ingersoll, so it's over in the shade cooling off. It's hotter than blazes. Anyway, these are a high strength bolt, and the way you can tell, see, Cat makes a grade 8 and then they make a high strength, and I don't know what the difference is, but you can tell them by the huge amount of marks that are on them. I'm pretty sure I replaced all these when I did the rollers last time. They were in really good shape. But the the Ingersoll does a pretty good job of tightening stuff. I did take the Hobo to him last time, if you remember, turned him quite a bit more. And I'll probably do that again. Probably do it with the Weaver, because the Weaver's got the air connection on it. But I'll be a little bit careful, because that Weaver, that thing makes a lot of power, and I mean a lot of power. So all I've got left is to finish torquing these 4 and we're done. And while I'm waiting for that to cool, I think I'll get out the grinder, clean up where I gouged the weld off this, and get it ready to come up on here. So I'm gonna have some issues, it looks like. For some reason that's gonna hit that roller. I don't know why. Why in the world? So it's, if you look at the other ones, it's almost like that one's a lot thicker. So I'm probably gonna be grinding on the roller to get that in there. So that's just no way that's gonna pry in there. Okay, everything's clear in here good. Those are gonna line up. Let's see, that's clear. This one, I think I gotta go in just a little bit farther. It won't go up. Anyway, these are bent. That's probably the reason. Probably the reason. So I gotta grind a little more off that one. All right, she's in there. I got enough ground off. Question is how in the world did I ever get a bolt in that? So I've got to do something with that hole, because the rest of them are fairly lined up. I think I can get bolts in them. Yeah, that one ain't looking real hot. Yeah, that'd line up. That'll go. Oh, if any of you guys know where there's a set of these for a 9, they'll say SSF at Spokane Steel Forge. I'd love to get another complete set of these, because I need a set for the H. Where I'm at in this gravel and hard rock, gotta have track guards. There's just no other way around it. So I'm gonna have to mark that. I don't know, somehow I must have got a bolt in it. I may have to grind just a little more off that too. Yeah, I probably just pried it in here and got the bolt in. That's how I did it. So that's how we'll get her on. It is a nice, cool, bright morning. I've come out early. I marked all these bolts with paint, and I'm gonna get the 45 pounder and put on it and just turn them a little bit more. And then I'm ready to get this guard on, get the other side on, get all that bolted together and bolted down, as long as all my holes hold up. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to go the other way. Alright, so you can see it turned that one easily. This one it wouldn't touch. Turn. That one it didn't. Pretty much all of them except one on that side turned quite a bit. These two did not. These two, but I am down under 150 pounds. Maybe I'll let it build up and hit these again, because it's like they should have tightened a little bit. That one didn't at all. I bet if you had 200 psi and you beat it to death on these, you could probably break them off. That is one wicked impact wrench. Compressor's back to 200. Let's see what it'll do at 200. Oh yeah. All right, at 200, it turns them easily. Those are straight. And it just took, what, 2 seconds to turn them that far. So, for maximum power out of those babies, 200 psi. I mean, that's pretty impressive that just a little below 150, it wouldn't turn those that I'd tightened with the Ingersoll. Now, you saw the dissing I did on the Ingersoll, but that sucker will tighten stuff. It's not super good at undoing, but it will tighten. So Jeff wins there. So I need 8 of a 1 David 4638 bolt. My dealer has them, and they have the hard flats. So I'm going to get in the Super Dodge and fly down and get those bolts, because I want to get these guards on before I flip it. And then I also want to get the air arc and gouge this crack out and get it fixed too before I start tipping it over. So off I go. Stupid camera keeps shutting off. So I've got this section in. As you can see, I'm missing from here to here, but there's nothing I can do. I don't have an old set of guards, anything I can cut anything off of, so it's just gonna have to be what it is. If I can find one, I can put it in there later. Wouldn't be hard. Trim this off, get it in, weld it on, bolt her down. Anyway, let's go get the pipes and the big bolts now. I've got everything bolted in. I'm ready to start welding. Yeah, it's so miserable hot today. Didn't get a lot done, so I'm going to take the forklift to see if I can flip this. Do this side first and then flip it back the other way. Somebody asked why I wasn't in my air-conditioned shop. Number one, I don't have AC, and you can't be flopping this around in there. I have no way to manhandle it. My crane in the shop is in no way big enough to manhandle that. Plus, you'd damage the floor. You'd have to get some big timber to do this. Plus, it's hotter in the shop during the day than it is out here. At least out here you get a breeze. So it looks like I did some repair there, welded some up. May not have to weld on there as much as I initially thought. Looks like I came clear back to there. But it's wore enough down under there that it's got this up that far. So I've got quite a few shims under that. I've got a few shims under that, but should be a little tighter than that. So I go do my nightly watering thing for the spray guys, and then I may come back and fire up that light plant over there and do some welding tonight if I can stay awake. I gotta fix my ground up. Hear it over there. Ready to lift the front idler out here. Right here, looks like I've welded it, but it needs a lot more. So not sure if I want to take this out, but I probably could, because there's no bolt in the end of it. been broke really bad over there. It's really hard to get these big bolts in. You really have to pry on that to get one of them started. I really need a new yoke and the new rod. So on that rod, it's just supposed to go in that hole, but on the back plate of it, I had to weld a flat plate because it tends to push the guts out of that. I just need a new one is what I need. I don't know if this would come off or not. It looks like it's loose in there. I could probably get it out. Them guards are sure messed up. But I gotta get it, loosen the grease deal and get it pushed back. Get that thing up. There we go. So you loosen that one and then push her back. So not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. I don't have room here. If I'd have turned it out this way, I could have went and got the backhoe and pushed down that and got it in. But I probably ought to go ahead and take this guard off. So I didn't do that. I don't know what the bolts are for. I guess they're to hold it from turning. But these things were never built on the G series tough enough, and they'd break this whole back end out. So it's in the taper in there. It doesn't have a bolt and a retainer, but it also has that on it. And I actually think this shaft is somewhat bent. So the way I got it in last time is I had that cover off, and if you remember, I undid all the bolts and pulled the piston out, and then well, I just shoved it back in is what I did. Can't remember what I did there. Anyway, this has got brand new seals and a brand new chrome piece here and a bushing in there and all that fun stuff. So anyway, like I was saying, this thing was completely tore off the machine when I got it, and it was just welded on. And I think it was the bolt in here. I had to go next size up. I can't remember. I think I had to buy this bar and drill it. Anyway, things are wore out. Boy, that's wore out. Wow. I need a new one of these. That's just too much to even weld in there. That's wore down 1/2 inch. That's gonna be going clear through that for long. But I ain't gonna fix it right now. You can't make me. I'll do that later when it's a crisis, okay? Anyway, what a pain. And you can see it doesn't fit down square either. I think that rod's bent. This side needs a lot of work. Lot of work. I don't know if you could get this aftermarket even. You'd have to get a used one. I'm not sure if you can even get that. Well, we'll get these off. So this one's brand new. It's already it had a wear strip on it. May just stack another one on top of there, or weld up underneath on those bars and put the wear strip on that. Maybe that's what I should do. But I got to get these off. So this one, I'm not sure if that's one. I don't know. Is that new? Yeah, I think I replaced both these when last time I worked on it. It's got a wear strip in it. Fun. Always fun. It's about 1,000 degrees now. Okay, so we got a weather alert. We got 50 to 55 mile an hour winds coming, so I put my umbrella away. I got to put that away for fill it with dirt. So I made a couple passes on here, started to clean it up. I got to get out a straight edge and put on there and get the high spots and fill in the low spots. I'm sure I got plenty of them, but for right now, looks like I'm gonna have to maybe take a break. Not like I could use a break or anything. Good morning. I think it's Saturday today. Anyway, I got a box here I've had for a while. It's from Brian Anderson. He says, enclosed are a couple of wire rope books I used before retiring. I think I have another rigging handbook, but have not found it yet. The most important part, I feel, as the section about load angles of the legs of the sling. The forces on the sling legs increase based on the geometry or angles of the legs relative to the load. Some people have a hard time understanding this, but it's somewhat common sense to others. Hope there are some helpful tips in these books. One other issue often overlooked is pulley wear, pulley size, and fit of the wire rope in the pulley. I have seen cases where the rope fell because it was too large for the groove in the pulley and the rope was damaged when loaded. Enjoy your YouTube, Brian Anderson. Thank you, Brian. This should come in handy. Lots of cool information in here. I was perusing through it. A lot of things I didn't know. Look at that, failures. All kinds of cool stuff. That's awesome that you sent that to me. Thank you, Brian. So I had to go out on the track frame and get it tipped up and go to welding again. Really don't want to. but I got to get this done. So anyway, let's get at her. Oh, she's a hot one. I've been welding, and I think I'm ready to start grinding on these inner wear strips. So I just put my level on there and marked with a paint marker how much had to be fixed. This side was pretty bad for a long distance. This side was a short distance. But these come, I've replaced these. They come from Cat with a great big weld, machine weld, super flat. Okay, that one turned out really quite well. Not a lot of pits in it, it's flat. I put the level on it, it doesn't rock. This one, I probably really need to run a bead here, but she's flat, so, and smooth. So I'm just gonna call it quits. So what I gotta do next is I've got to tip it over that way and start welding on that. Think the crane will run without glow plugs? No. I guarantee you it ain't gonna run without glow plugs. Ooh, Black Sea, hot, hot. All right, you're gonna criticize me for this. I got firewood under this side and a piece of firewood under that end, but it seems fairly stable. Let's get the umbrella over here if I can. There we go. Shade. I don't know that I'm gonna have to do a lot to this one. Feels tapered, so probably a lot of build up here. It's been built up all the way to there. I can see I did that. Anyway, what do you think? How do you like me now? How do you like me and my junk? My paid for junk. You know, if you just bought new, Jeff, the stuff never breaks down, the undercarriage never wears out. You never have to go through this. I need my head examined. I don't get it.